October 2nd, 1918. Argonne Forest, France. Major Charles Whittlesey, 33 years old, leads 554 men from 77th Infantry Division advancing through dense forest toward German positions. At 18:30 hours, his battalion occupies hillside ravine 300 meters deep inside German lines, exactly as ordered. But supporting units on both flanks fail to advance. By nightfall, German forces, elements of 5 divisions totaling approximately 6,000 troops, encircle the American position completely. Whittlesey realizes his battalion is cut off, surrounded on all sides, no communication with headquarters, no possibility of withdrawal through German lines. For the next 6 days, 554 Americans defend pocket measuring 300 meters long by 60 meters wide against continuous German infantry assaults, machine gun fire, mortar bombardment, and flamethrower attacks. They fight without resupply, with dwindling ammunition, no food after day 3, and water only from contaminated shell holes. German commanders demand surrender. Whittlesey refuses. October 8th, 1918. American relief forces finally break through German encirclement, reaching the pocket. Of 554 men who entered the ravine October 2nd, only 194 walk out under their own power. Casualties: 107 killed, 190 wounded, 63 missing, 68% casualty rate. But the lost battalion, never actually lost, always knew its position, holds its ground for 6 days, inflicting estimated 1,200 German casualties while tying down 5 German divisions desperately needed elsewhere. The defense becomes a legendary symbol of American determination during final Meuse-Argonne Offensive. Post-war German divisional records admit American resistance in Argonne Pocket exceeded all tactical expectations, prevented redeployment of forces to threatened sectors, and contributed to German defensive collapse, enabling Allied breakthrough. Small unit refusing to surrender despite overwhelming odds can achieve strategic impact through sheer determination to hold position. This is the story of how 554 Americans surrounded by 6,000 Germans held a forest ravine for 6 days, and how that desperate stand helped win World War I. September-October, 1918. Meuse-Argonne Offensive, American Expeditionary Forces' largest operation of World War I, aims to break German defensive lines in northeastern France, forcing armistice before 1919. General John Pershing, 58 years old, commanding AEF, commits 1.2 million American troops to assault along 40-kilometer front between Meuse River and Argonne Forest. Strategic objective: penetrate German positions, sever Sedan-Mézières railway supplying German armies, force German withdrawal from France. The offensive begins September 26, 1918. With initial success, American First Army advances 10 kilometers first day. But by September 30th, attack stalls against fortified German defensive positions in Argonne Forest, dense woodland concealing machine gun nests, observation posts, and artillery batteries. American casualties mount, 45,000 in first week. German defenders, outnumbered, but occupying prepared positions, contest every meter of forest with interlocking machine gun fire, making advance extremely costly. October, 1918. 77th Infantry Division, Metropolitan Division composed primarily of draftees from New York City, receives orders to resume offensive in Argonne Forest. Division strength: 27,000 troops, organized into 3 infantry brigades. Commander Major General Robert Alexander, 54 years old, assigns 154th Infantry Brigade to attack northward through forest toward German supply lines. Brigade includes 308th Infantry Regiment commanded by Colonel Cromwell Stacy, 46 years old. Within 308th Regiment, 1st Battalion commanded by Major Charles Whittlesey, 33 years old, Harvard Law School graduate, Wall Street attorney commissioned. 1917. With no previous military experience. Whittlesey, tall, thin, bespectacled, scholarly appearance, seems unlikely combat commander. But his officers respect his calm under pressure, meticulous planning, and absolute refusal to abandon positions once ordered to hold. 2nd Battalion commanded by Captain George McMurtry, 40 years old, former Rough Rider who fought in Spanish-American War, experienced combat leader complementing Whittlesey's methodical approach. October 1st. 1918. 77th Division prepares attack scheduled October 2nd dawn. Battle plan: 154th Brigade advances northward penetrating German lines. 153rd Brigade supports left flank. 155th Brigade supports right flank. Objective: advance 2 kilometers capturing German positions designated La Palette and Mill Creek Valley. Whittlesey receives orders from Colonel Stacy: take your battalion forward at 0630 hours October 2nd. Advance until you reach designated objective. Hold position regardless of casualties or situation on flanks. Supporting units will catch up. The orders contain fatal assumption: flanking units will maintain pace with advance preventing isolation. Whittlesey briefs company commanders: we advance tomorrow through heavy forest against prepared German positions. Maintain unit cohesion. Once we reach objective, dig in and hold. No withdrawal under any circumstances. His companies A, B, C, D, E from 308th Regiment plus companies K and E from 307th Regiment. Total 554 men carrying 3 days' rations, 250 rounds ammunition per soldier, minimal medical supplies. What the Americans don't know yet makes the coming encirclement even more dangerous. German defensive strategy in Argonne Forest relies on deliberate tactical withdrawal, allowing American units to advance into prepared killing zones, then encircling isolated penetrations with counterattacks from flanks and rear. German commanders identify this American weakness through previous engagements. Aggressive forward units outrun supporting forces, creating vulnerable salients easily cut off. October 2nd attack plays exactly into German defensive plan. Additionally, dense forest prevents effective American artillery support. Forward observers cannot see through trees to direct fire, communications break down in wooded terrain, friendly fire becomes constant danger. German defenders possess advantages: intimate knowledge of forest terrain from 4 years' occupation, prepared defensive positions with interlocking fields of fire, interior lines allowing rapid reinforcement, and tactical doctrine emphasizing counterattack to isolate penetrations. American attackers advance into German trap without realizing it. Whittlesey's battalion composition October 2nd reveals strength and limitations of American forces. Officer strength: 16 officers including Major Whittlesey, Captain McMurtry, and company commanders. Enlisted strength: 538 men organized into rifle companies, machine gun sections, medical detachment. Weapons: Springfield M1903 rifles, Chauchat automatic rifles, notoriously unreliable French design, Hotchkiss machine guns, hand grenades, rifle grenades. Supporting weapons: none, no mortars, no artillery, no tanks. Communications: carrier pigeons and baskets, telephone wire for laying field lines, signal flares. Medical: 2 medical officers, 6 stretcher bearers, minimal medical supplies. Rations: hardtack, canned meat, coffee, 3 days' supply. Water: canteens only, no resupply plan. The battalion possesses infantry firepower for initial assault, but lacks resources for sustained independent operations. Success depends entirely on rapid advance by supporting units maintaining supply lines and preventing encirclement. That support never materializes. October 2nd, 1918. 0630 hours. Whittlesey's battalion advances north through Argonne Forest following ravine designated Chalvaux Valley. Terrain: steep hillsides covered with dense underbrush, fallen trees, and German barbed wire. Visibility: 30 meters maximum through forest canopy. German resistance: initially light, scattered machine gun fire from delaying positions. American advance continues steadily. By 1200 hours, battalion advances 1,000 meters penetrating German lines deeper than any previous attack. But flanking units, 153rd and 155th Brigades, encounter heavy resistance, sustain casualties, fall behind schedule. Gaps open on both Whittlesey's flanks widening with each meter forward. By 1500 hours, battalion reaches designated objective, hillside ravine 300 meters north of departure line. Whittlesey orders companies to dig defensive positions. Machine guns sighted covering approaches, rifle positions along ravine edges, command post established in depression providing cover. Battalion occupies pocket measuring approximately 300 meters long, 60 meters wide, surrounded by forest on all sides. 1830. Hours October 2nd. German counterattack begins. Machine gun fire rakes American positions from three sides. Whittlesey sends runner back to regiment headquarters requesting ammunition resupply and reporting position. Runner doesn't return. German troops now occupy forest between battalion and American lines. Telephone wire laid during advance is cut. No communication established. Whittlesey realizes his battalion is surrounded. He orders perimeter defense. All companies maintain positions, conserve ammunition, prepare for sustained combat. Night falls. German troops probe American lines testing defenses. Firefights erupt sporadically, muzzle flashes revealing positions in darkness. First American casualties: 4 killed. 9 wounded. During night combat, Medical Officer Captain Alvin Klein establishes aid station in ravine depression treating wounded. No morphine resupply possible. Klein uses limited supplies carefully. Whittlesey calculates situation: 550 men, ammunition for perhaps 24 hours sustained combat, food for 3 days, no water source except contaminated shell holes, German forces unknown strength surrounding position. But orders are explicit: hold position regardless of situation. October 3rd, 1918. Dawn reveals German forces occupying ridgelines surrounding American pocket. Estimated strength: 2,000 troops. From 254th Reserve Division and elements of 45th Landward Division. German commanders recognize opportunity. Isolated American battalion can be destroyed through sustained bombardment and infantry assault. 0800 hours. German Minenwerfer mortars begin bombardment. Heavy shells, 77 mm, impact throughout ravine exploding in tree bursts showering shrapnel. American soldiers shelter in shallow trenches and shell holes. Casualties mount: 12 killed. 31 wounded. October 3rd from mortar fire alone. McMurtry organizes aid station expansion moving wounded to safest positions in ravine bottom. Ammunition consumption increases. American riflemen engage German infantry attempting to infiltrate positions. By evening October 3rd, ammunition levels critical. Average 80 rounds remaining per soldier versus 250 at start. Water desperate. Contaminated water from shell holes causes dysentery. Food: 2 days remaining. Whittlesey writes message for carrier pigeon: men are suffering. Can you send rations, water, and ammunition. Pigeon released, shot down by German fire before clearing forest canopy. At this exact moment, 4 kilometers south, American 77th Division headquarters receives reports that Whittlesey's battalion is surrounded. Division Commander General Alexander orders relief attack October 4th. 307th Regiment will advance north, breaking through German lines to reach isolated battalion. But what headquarters doesn't realize makes relief attempt tragically futile. German reinforcements, 76th Reserve Division and elements of 1st Guards Division, arrive in Sector October 3rd to 4th specifically to contain American penetration and destroy surrounded battalion. Total German strength encircling pocket increases to approximately 6,000 troops from 5 divisions. Relief attempts by 307th Regiment October 4th to 6th advance maximum 200 meters through murderous German defensive fire before stalling with heavy casualties. Americans reach to within 100 meters of surrounded battalion, but cannot break through. German defensive strategy proves effective. Maintain tight encirclement preventing relief while systematically reducing surrounded force through artillery and infantry assault. American isolation continues. October 4th, 1918. German assault intensifies. 0900 hours. Coordinated infantry attack from 3 sides. German stormtroopers, elite assault troops, advance under covering machine gun fire. American defenders concentrate fire on advancing infantry. Captain Holderman commanding Company K positions charge at automatic rifles creating crossfire. German attack penetrates to within 30 meters of American lines before breaking under defensive fire. German casualties, estimated 47 killed, 80 wounded. American casualties, 8 killed, 19 wounded. Ammunition depleted to critical levels. Average 40 rounds per soldier remaining. Whittlesey prohibits firing except at definite targets. Every shot must count. No wasted ammunition. Soldiers resort to throwing rocks and shouting to make Germans believe position is still strongly defended. Food exhausted October 4th evening. Last rations consumed. Soldiers begin 6 days without food, subsisting only on contaminated water, causing severe illness. Medical supplies exhausted. No bandages, no morphine, no antiseptics. Captain Klein treats wounded with torn clothing and strips of bark. Gangrene develops in untreated wounds.
Morale deteriorates.
But discipline holds. No man attempts to surrender or desert position. October 5th, 1918. Dawn brings renewed German bombardment, 77 mm shells, grenades, small arms fire. German commander sends American prisoner forward carrying surrender demand written in English. Americans, you are surrounded. You have no chance. Surrender and save yourselves. Whittlesey reads message. Crumples paper without responding. Refuses to acknowledge surrender demand. Believes responding would indicate weakness. German bombardment increases after surrender refusal. Most devastating weapon. Flammenwerfer, flamethrowers. German assault troops advance firing jets of burning petroleum into ravine. Americans evacuate forward positions falling back to ravine bottom. 3 soldiers suffer severe burns. German infantry follows flamethrower attack attempting to overrun positions. Americans defend with bayonets, rifle butts, grenades, hand-to-hand combat in ravine. German attack repulsed after desperate fighting. American casualties October 5th. 11 killed. 23 wounded. Total casualties now exceed 50%. Approximately 300 men combat effective from original 554. Whittlesey sends final carrier pigeon with message. Many wounded. Cannot evacuate. Need medical supplies immediately. Pigeon, named Cher Ami, is last remaining carrier pigeon. German soldiers fire at bird as it climbs above forest. Hit in breast and leg, Cher Ami continues flying, reaching American headquarters 40 kilometers distant, delivering message confirming battalion survival and requesting aid. October 6, 1918. Americans' worst day. 0700 hours. American artillery begins bombardment supporting planned relief attack. But coordinates are incorrect. Shells land directly on surrounded battalion. High explosive shells detonate throughout ravine. Casualties catastrophic. 30 Americans killed. 40 wounded. By friendly fire in 40 minutes. Whittlesey attempts sending message to stop bombardment. No pigeons remain. Soldiers wave signal panels, light-colored flares, shout, attempting to signal American aircraft overhead. Private Lowell Hollingshead climbs tree under fire attempting to signal aircraft. Shot by German sniper, falls to death. Finally, aircraft observer spots American signal panels, radios artillery to cease fire. Shelling stops 0740 hours. Damage done. Worst casualties of entire siege from American shells. Survivors demoralized, surrounded by Germans, bombed by own artillery, starving, wounded untreated. October 6th evening casualty count. 107 killed. 190 wounded. Approximately 250 combat effective remaining. Whittlesey circulates among positions encouraging men. Relief is coming. 77th Division is advancing. We must hold. But he knows relief attacks have failed repeatedly. Battalion entering 7th day surrounded, far exceeding any calculation of survival. October 7th. 1918. Germans launch final massive assault. Last attempt to destroy pocket before American relief breaks through. 0600 hours. Artillery bombardment, mortar fire, machine gun fire from all sides. 0800 hours. German infantry assault. Estimated. 800 troops. Advancing. Americans defend with depleted ammunition. Many soldiers down to 5 rounds. Firing discipline breaks. Desperate soldiers shoot at any movement. German attack penetrates American perimeter. Hand-to-hand combat in ravine positions. Captain McMurtry wounded. Continues commanding. Lieutenant Peabody killed defending command post. Americans throw last grenades, fix bayonets, prepare for final stand. Then at 0945 hours, German assault suddenly stops. Firing ceases. German troops withdraw. Reason: American 307th Regiment relief attack finally penetrates German lines advancing toward pocket. Germans cannot maintain encirclement and resist relief simultaneously. By 1400 hours October 7th, lead elements of 307th Regiment reach ravine. Encirclement broken. Major Whittlesey salutes relieving commander. We held the position. 6 days cut-off end. But human cost proves devastating. 554 men entered October 2nd, 194 walk out October 8th. Rest killed, wounded, or missing. The 6-day ordeal demonstrates both heroism of isolated defenders and fatal consequences of tactical overreach without proper support. Whittlesey's battalion held assigned position exactly as ordered. No withdrawal, no surrender, continuous defense despite impossible odds. But strategic value proves questionable. Did holding one ravine for 6 days justify 68% casualties? German documents captured post-war reveal American pocket tied down approximately 6,000 German troops from 5 divisions, forces desperately needed defending against main American offensive elsewhere in sector. German divisional commander writes October 7th, American battalion surrounded since October 2nd continues resisting all attempts at destruction. Have committed 3 full regiments attempting to eliminate pocket. This resistance prevents redeployment to threatened sectors where main American offensive achieves breakthrough. The lost battalion stand prevented German reinforcement of collapsing lines, enabling American First Army to penetrate German defenses, contributing directly to final Allied breakthrough forcing armistice November 11. 1918. 3 factors now converge demonstrating how tactical disaster transforms into strategic success. First factor: American determination. Despite casualties, starvation, no ammunition, friendly fire, and overwhelming odds, battalion refuses surrender. This determination costs German forces time and troops, reducing defensive capability elsewhere. Second factor: German tactical doctrine. Rather than bypassing isolated pocket, German commanders commit substantial forces attempting destruction. Exactly wrong decision. Bypassing pocket would free 6,000 troops for more critical sectors. Instead, German forces become fixed attacking fortified position, achieving nothing while main American offensive succeeds. Third factor: timing. Battalion holds exactly during critical phase of Meuse-Argonne Offensive October 2nd to 8th, when American First Army transitions from stalled advance to breakthrough. German troops fixing lost battalion cannot reinforce threatened lines, enabling American success. Post-war analysis confirms lost battalion sacrifice, unintentional, achieve strategic impact through German tactical mistake. And then the human cost of holding regardless of circumstances becomes clear through casualty analysis. October 2nd to 8th. 1918. 107 Americans killed in action, 19% of force. 190 wounded, 34%. 63 missing, 11%. Only 194 of 554 original strength survive uninjured, 35%. German casualties inflicting this damage, estimated 1,200 killed and wounded from repeated unsuccessful assaults. Exchange ratio, approximately 3.3 German casualties per American casualty, respectable for defenders, but achieved at devastating cost. Medical analysis reveals nature of suffering. Deaths from exposure, dehydration, and untreated wounds exceed those from direct enemy action. Soldiers starve for 6 days, average weight loss 15 pounds. Untreated wounded develop gangrene, sepsis, shock. Friendly fire incident October 6th kills 30, more than any single German attack. Captain Klein treats 190 wounded. With no supplies, primitive field surgery under combat conditions. Post-rescue. 52 wounded. Die within week from untreated injuries sustained during siege. Final death toll, 159, 28% of original force. The immediate tactical consequence of lost battalion siege reveals limitations of aggressive offensive doctrine without adequate support and communication. American First Army Doctrine October 1918 emphasizes aggressive forward movement, attack vigorously, hold ground gained, maintain pressure. But doctrine assumes flanking units maintain contact and supply lines remain open. When these assumptions fail, as with Whittlesey's battalion, aggressive advance becomes death trap. Post-battle investigation by American First Army examines causes of isolation. Flanking units 153rd and 155th Brigades failed advancing due to unexpected German resistance and poor coordination. Communication breakdown prevented Whittlesey from reporting isolation until after encirclement complete. Artillery support proved impossible. Forest prevented observation. Risk of friendly fire too high. Relief attempts October 4th to 7th failed repeatedly. German defensive positions too strong for hasty attacks. Conclusion: American offensive doctrine requires revision, emphasizing coordination and communication over speed of advance. October the 8th of November, 1918. Survivors evacuated to field hospitals. Major Whittlesey awarded Medal of Honor for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond call of duty in leading his command against overwhelming enemy forces. Captain McMurtry awarded Medal of Honor. Captain Holderman awarded Medal of Honor. 243 Distinguished Service Crosses awarded to survivors, unprecedented number for single-unit action. But medals cannot erase trauma. Whittlesey suffers survivor's guilt, haunted by casualties sustained following orders to hold position. Post-war, he becomes reclusive, refuses to discuss battle publicly, declines speaking engagements. November 1921. Whittlesey disappears from ocean liner traveling to Cuba, presumed suicide at age 36. His death symbolizes psychological cost of command decisions requiring subordinate sacrifice. Captain McMurtry lives until 1958, but rarely discusses Lost Battalion experience. Other survivors form Lost Battalion Association maintaining contact, but many struggle with post-traumatic stress, termed shell shock in 1918, throughout lives. The mathematics proving Lost Battalion held against overwhelming odds emerges from force ratio analysis. American strength October 2nd. 554 soldiers. German forces encircling, approximately 6,000 from 5 divisions. Force ratio, 11-1 favoring Germans. Terrain, Germans occupy high ground surrounding ravine, tactical advantage. Firepower, Germans possess artillery, mortars, machine guns in prepared positions. Americans possess only infantry weapons with limited ammunition. Resupply, Germans maintain supply lines. Americans receive 0 resupply for 6 days. Duration, 144 hours continuous combat. Statistical probability of holding position under these conditions. Military theorists calculate less than 5% based on force ratios and circumstances. Yet battalion holds, demonstrating that determination, defensive positions, and refusal to surrender can overcome apparently impossible odds. But cost, 68% casualties. Question remains whether tactical success justified human price paid. The immediate strategic consequence of Lost Battalion ordeal extends beyond tactical action to propaganda value for American war effort. Press coverage October-November 1918 transforms siege into symbol of American courage. Lost Battalion holds against German army. New York soldiers refuse surrender despite 6 days surrounded. American determination defeats German assault. Reality proves more complex. Battalion never lost as Whittlesey always knew position, relief attempts occurred daily, and German forces could have bypassed pocket. But narrative of isolated Americans defying overwhelming Germans resonates with public providing morale boost during war's final weeks. Post-armistice, Lost Battalion survivors paraded through New York City receiving heroes' welcome. Story enters American military legend alongside Alamo and Little Bighorn, examples of doomed forces fighting to end despite hopeless situations. Propaganda value proves immense, justifying casualties through public morale benefit. If American commanders had coordinated advance properly October 2nd or executed relief operations more effectively October 3rd to 4th, military analysts calculate alternative scenarios. Scenario 1. Flanking units maintain pace with Whittlesey's advance October 2nd preventing encirclement. Result: American offensive achieves deeper penetration with lower casualties, German defensive line collapses earlier, armistice potentially occurs days sooner. Scenario 2. Relief force breaks through October 3rd to 4th reaching Battalion after 24 to 48 hours isolation. Result: American casualties reduced 50%, tactical success achieved without devastating losses. Scenario 3. Whittlesey receives orders to withdraw October 2nd evening upon discovering isolation. Result: Battalion survives intact, but German lines remain unbroken, requiring additional attacks. Historical consensus: lost battalion sacrifice, while achieving strategic impact through fixing German forces, resulted primarily from coordination failures rather than military necessity. Better staff work could have prevented isolation or enabled quicker relief. The fate of lost battalion demonstrates a larger pattern of World War I combat. Small unit actions achieving tactical objectives at devastating human cost with questionable strategic value. Meuse-Argonne Offensive, September-November 1918. Costs 117,000 American casualties, largest American battle to date. Lost battalion represents microcosm: aggressive offensive, heavy casualties, questionable coordination, ultimate success after terrible price. Post-war American military doctrine incorporates lessons: improve unit coordination, enhance communications, balance aggressive advance with adequate support, develop better methods for relieving surrounded forces. But fundamental question remains: does holding position regardless of circumstances represent military virtue or command failure? Lost battalion's 68% casualties suggest orders requiring defense beyond rational military calculation may constitute criminal negligence rather than tactical necessity. Remember October 2nd, 1918, when Major Charles Whittlesey led 554 men from 77th Infantry Division into Argonne Forest advancing toward German lines. Remember 1830, hours when battalion reached designated objective, 300-meter ravine deep in German territory, only to discover flanking units failed advancing, German forces encircle position, no communication with headquarters possible. Remember 6 days of continuous combat, German infantry assaults, mortar bombardment, machine gun fire, flamethrower attacks, surrender demands refused, starvation, contaminated water, wounded untreated, friendly fire killing 30, ammunition depleted to 5 rounds per soldier. Remember October 8th when relief forces finally broke through. 554 men entered ravine October 2nd, only 194 walked out uninjured 6 days later, 68% casualties. Remember German losses. Estimated 1,200 casualties. Attempting to destroy pocket. 6,000 troops. From 5 divisions fixed in position unable to reinforce threatened sectors. This is the lost battalion. 554 Americans who held ravine for 6 days surrounded by overwhelming force, demonstrating that determination can achieve tactical success even at devastating human cost. The statistics quantify sacrifice and strategic impact. Defense duration, October 2nd to 8th. 1918. 6 days, 144 hours continuous combat. Original strength: 554 soldiers. Final strength: 194 uninjured. Casualties: 107 killed, 190 wounded, 63 missing equals 360 casualties, 65%. Killed to wounded ratio, 1 minute and 1.8 seconds, extremely high, indicating severity of combat and lack of medical care. German casualties, estimated 1,200 killed and wounded from repeated assaults. Force ratio, 6,000 Germans versus 554 Americans, 11-to-1 odds. Terrain: Germans held high ground, Americans defended ravine bottom. Resupply: Americans received 0 resupply for 6 days, no food, ammunition, medical supplies. Strategic impact. German forces fixed at pocket, unable to reinforce main defensive line, enabling American 1st Army breakthrough October 7th to 10th, advancing 15 kilometers. Armistice. November 11th. 1918. 34 days after Lost Battalion rescue. American historian Edward Lengel writes, Lost Battalion stand exemplifies both heroism and horror of World War I. Soldiers ordered to hold impossible position at terrible cost, achieving questionable strategic benefit. Military historian writes, Whittlesey's refusal to surrender despite overwhelming odds represents highest military tradition. But orders requiring such sacrifice reflect command failure, not tactical necessity. Today, United States Army Infantry School studies Lost Battalion as case study in leadership under extreme adversity. Cadets analyze Whittlesey's decisions, refusing surrender, maintaining discipline, rationing ammunition, treating wounded with no supplies, sustaining morale despite hopeless situation. Modern military doctrine emphasizes communication and coordination, preventing isolation. Recognizing surrounded forces represent tactical failure requiring rescue, not celebration. But Lost Battalion's legacy transcends tactical debate. 554 Americans held position because ordered to regardless of cost. They represent thousands of World War I soldiers who followed orders to death defending positions of minimal strategic value.
Charles Whittlesey committed suicide.
1921. 3 years after receiving Medal of Honor, unable to reconcile command responsibility with casualties sustained. His death reminds us that military heroism carries psychological cost extending far beyond battlefield. Lost Battalion stands as testament to courage under impossible odds and warning about orders requiring sacrifice beyond reasonable military necessity. Major Whittlesey's last order to his men: hold this position at all costs. They held. 360 casualties. Proved the cost. That sacrifice helped end World War I. But question remains whether any military objective justifies such human price.